The Hymn of Jesus by G.R.S. Mead. Narrated by Matthew Schmitz. Preamble. Just as many other settings of the sayings and doings of the Lord existed prior to and alongside of the canonical Gospels, so were there, prior to and alongside of the subsequently selected or canonical Acts, many other narratives professing to record the doings and sayings of the apostles and disciples of the Lord. Most of these originated in circles which were subsequently called heretical, and many of them were later on worked over by orthodox editors to suit doctrinal preconceptions, and so preserved for the edification of large numbers in the Catholic or general Church. As Lipsius says, almost every fresh editor of such narratives, using that freedom which all antiquity was wont to allow itself in dealing with literary monuments, would recast the materials which lay before him, excluding whatever might not suit his theological point of view, dogmatic statements, for example, speeches, prayers, etc., for which he would substitute other formulae of his own composition, and further expanding and abridging after his own pleasure, or as the immediate object which he had in view might dictate. Some of these edited and re-edited documents, though for the most part they have come down to us in a very fragmentary condition, still preserve distinct traces of their Gnostic origin, and Lipsius has shown that their Gnosticism is not to be ascribed to 3rd century Manichaeism, as had been previously assumed by many, but to the general Gnosis of the 2nd century. There was a very wide circulation of such religious romances in the 2nd century, for they formed the main means of Gnostic public propaganda. The technical inner teachings of Gnosticism were assailed by the subsequently Orthodox Church Fathers with misrepresentation and overwhelmed with ridicule. To these onslaughts, the Gnostics, as far as we are aware, made no reply, most probably because they were bound by oaths of secrecy on the one hand, and on the other knew well that the mysteries of the inner life could not be decided by vulgar debate. The mystic teachings of their gospel were for those who knew the nature of the inner life by direct experience. For the rest, they were foolishness. Their Acts romances also appear often to be based on actual occurrences of the inner life and on direct spiritual experience, subsequently worked up into popular forms. The marvelous complexity and baffling sublimity of apocalyptic ecstasy and the overabundant and pregnant technology which delighted the members of the inner circles of the Gnostic Christians were excluded, and all was reduced to simpler terms. These marvelous narratives may seem vastly fantastic to the modern mind, but to every shade of Christianity in those days they were entirely credible. The Orthodox did not repudiate the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?